People did not like that I said accent walls are out, and I don't care. I hate them. Hello friends, how are you? My name is Corbin Reed and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I thought it would be fun to bring you a stop doing this to your home video. I've never done anything like this before. I know sometimes people have negative reactions to these, like, oh, well, I like it, and you know, people get really up in arms. Please don't. This is just for fun, and you should, at the end of the day, do whatever works for you in your home. So take all this with a grain of salt, have a sense of humor, have fun. I'm gonna talk about the don'ts and then some things that you can do instead that I think would be stylish and designer approved. Let's get right into it. So the first one I wanna talk to you about is bad drapery. What I mean by bad drapery is when people do things like grommets on their drapery. That's one of my kind of icks. Those little metal round holes that you can buy from, like, honestly, like Amazon or IKEA. It's just a very dated 90s and quite frankly a little bit cheap look. There are way better options. And also, if another ick with drapery for me is if you choose something that is too far from the floor. So if your drapes are too short and you know it's clearing 2-3 feet from the floor, it just cheapens the room, and it also shortens the ceiling height. So what you want to do instead is hang your drapery as high as you can, as close to the ceiling as you can, and curtains don't have to be expensive. If you want a super custom look, 2Pages offers some really great options. But also IKEA. You can get cotton curtains. They even have a linen line, which is really beautiful and high-end and affordable for linen. But if you can't spring for that, I would spring for anything that's 100% cotton. They even have a couple of polyester options that look natural, but I would spring for something that looks natural, is the length that you need for your windows, and is going to touch the floor. Hang it so it either is just like, I would say like 1/4 of an inch from the floor, or another good look is if it's like pooling on the floor. So that's number one. Number two, stop buying everything from the same place. So Target is one of the places that I have found that influencers love to do like coverage of drops. Like they'll say, oh, there's a Studio McGee drop and here's everything that I would pick from that. I don't know if I've even ever done one of those before. I think it's tempting. Also, and I know they're popular and everybody has access to a Target, but my thing is like, if you're gonna buy everything from these Target drops, like the Studio McGee drops or the Hearth and Hand drops, like your house is gonna look like a Target store. So I would opt to not do that. Or even like people love to do Amazon hauls, and then you just buy everything that somebody has recommended to you from Amazon, and then your house looks like, I know that Amazon doesn't have stores, but it looks like everybody else's house because everyone's buying the same thing. What I would recommend doing instead is going to a thrift store, you know, going to your local flea market or antique fair or vintage fair. Buying secondhand is such a fantastic way to add personality to your home, to add unique touches to your home, and to give your home that distinct sort of high-end look that, you know, you're not gonna see in anybody else's house because an influencer told you to buy it. So that is what I would recommend doing. Some of my favorite pieces are from flea markets and thrift stores and vintage fairs. And the really cool thing about it is when I look at them, I have a story behind them and I know where I got them or how I felt when I found it. So that is what I would recommend doing instead. Number three, and this is very specific. Stop buying polyester velvet. On Wayfair and these big box stores, or even Amazon or Target sometimes, they have a tendency to sell things as velvet. And unfortunately, there are these shiny polyester fabrics that are meant to look rich and are meant to look luxurious. Instead, they just end up looking shiny and cheap. A lot of times they come in jewel tone colors like turquoise or pink or yellow or whatever. And it's cheap for the manufacturer to put it on there. And if you don't know any better, you will think that's velvet until you get it in the mail. And then even then you may not know, but I'm here to tell you, it doesn't look like this, it looks like this. cotton velvet looks like this. It doesn't have that polyester shine to it. It looks luxe, it looks rich, it looks warm and cozy, and it doesn't necessarily even have to cost you more. You just have to make sure that you're asking the right questions. So if you're gonna buy velvet, don't buy polyester velvet. Make sure you get the real deal and do yourself a favor and get the real luxe look that you wanna go for. The fourth thing I wish people would stop doing in their houses is beige on beige on beige on beige. And I have to say, I myself am what's the word? Offender of this. When I first bought my house, I thought that, and here I am talking about that in a beige background with white flowers. But you know, if you saw the rest of the room, there's red, there's charcoal, there's brown. It's a rich combination. It's tempting because it's easy. You can just buy a white couch and buy white rug and buy white decor and everything will match and you don't have to think about it. And I also know that it was very trendy for a while. And now I'm seeing kind of it shift a little bit more, which I'm happy about, to just like different versions of brown, which is cool. But I dare you to go out and take a look, take a look at a color wheel. And there are ways you can just go online and find out what color schemes go together. I think people get intimidated by the idea of having to bring a bunch of different colors and elements together in a room, and will they work together or will they not? That's what a color wheel is for. They have color swatches that you can literally look up online for free and go, what do these 4 colors all go together in the same space? And then just try pulling from that. The beige on beige on beige or white on white on white, it's not only is it not in anymore, but I don't think it ever looked good. It feels sterile. It feels like a hospital. It feels kind of lazy. So I challenge you to decorate a room according to the way that it makes you want to feel. So if you want to feel warm and cozy, look up warm and cozy color palettes. If you want to feel energized, look up an energized color palette, and then go from there. It's less intimidating if you have a sort of base to work from. The fifth thing, this is tough. The fifth thing is tufted furniture. Guys, this is another like big box store, Wayfair, offender. They love to tuft things to make them look stylish or luxurious, and I'm not into it. I think it looks cheap, I think it looks mass produced, I think it looks overdone, and I think it looks dated. I think instead of tufting, if you want your furniture to have style, go for something that has rounded edges. Go for something that has a unique shape. Instead of like a square sofa, maybe you try, a sofa that has sloped arms, or I love an English arm roll sofa or chair, or that has like wheels or on casters on the bottom. Nail head trim is another really nice detail that I think is timeless and beautiful. If you have a leather sofa and you want to update the look, try reupholstering the seats with a fabric, or I did mine with a sheepskin. There are so many ways you can add personality to your furniture that don't have to cost a lot of money. You just have to know what else to look for. And Wayfair loves, and these big box stores have for a very long time loved to push out these tufted beds, these tufted chairs, these tufted ottomans. I truly cannot stand it. I'm so sick and tired of it. I think it's because I've seen it too much. I had it once myself when I first moved into my first apartment in New York, and I did it again in LA, and then I found my style and I realized there's so many other options, so try the other ones. The next thing you gotta stop doing is buying faux fur. Faux fur or anything, really. The thing about the faux fur, it doesn't keep well because again, it's not a natural material. They don't wash well. If you accidentally put it in the dryer, it's gonna melt because it's just polyester. And a lot of times, like, again, this is a thing that big box stores do. When you touch it in the store, it's nice and it's fluffy. And then a month goes by and it looks like a ratty, dirty rag. And it's just a waste of your money. I know people too, like a lot of times around the holidays will buy like long, white, fluffy faux fur. I know natural materials can be expensive, but as I said earlier, there is a way to find these things secondhand. Facebook Marketplace, thrifting, flea markets. Go for trying to find, like, you can find sheepskin pelts secondhand, you know, if you want that fur look and you want to be also like conscious of animals and all of that, go for that. You can sling one of those over the back of a dining chair, or you can, I've seen people kind of put them on their sofas, on the floor as a rug. Like, there are so many options. Those are also pretty easy to find secondhand. And instead of faux fur in bedding, go for wool. You know, go for something wool that's 100% wool. It's gonna be, if you want that warm, cozy feeling. Just don't do faux fur. It's not gonna do you any justice, and it looks cheap, and it does not last, and it does not wash well or wear well over time. This next one might be controversial, but DIYing antique or vintage vases drives me crazy. I'm sorry. I know that the look, there are so many videos on YouTube, on Instagram, where people are painting them that they pick up at Target or whatever, or Hobby Lobby even sometimes, or whatever, or the thrift store, and then they defile them by painting them, and it doesn't look antique. It doesn't look vintage. I am a true believer that you do not need to decorate a space overnight, and it is far better to buy something like that authentically. Save up for it, budget for it. Wait till you can find it in your price range at a thrift store or on Facebook Marketplace or at an antique fair. It's worth it, because the look of a true antique vessel or a true vintage vessel is so beautiful. And your eye will get more sensitive the more you get into like home decor and interior design. What once looked okay as like a DIY vase is just gonna look like junk. I'm sorry, it's gonna look like junk. You're not gonna want it anymore. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money. Save your money. Scour Facebook Marketplace, scour thrift stores. I have found them. They are findable in your price range. Even the internet sometimes, just like Etsy, certain Etsy sellers, or, you know, certain like websites that are not, you know, the obvious ones like Amber Interiors or whatever. You can use Google reverse lens search, take a picture of the thing that you're looking for, and see what comes up. Maybe you'll be surprised. I found several of my antique Chinese vases. They're called Miju jars. I found a couple actually on Jeannie Stouffer's website. I got them for $50. Those go for like $200-300 on Amber Interiors website. So that was a lucky find. I found a couple on Etsy for, you know, under $75. Just do yourself a favor, get the real thing, even if it takes longer. The next thing you should stop doing to your homes is geometric wallpaper. It's a little random, but I just feel like it's harsh, it looks angular, it looks 80s. There are instances where I feel like this can be done well, but generally speaking, it's just an ick for me. I don't like it. Instead, I would go for something that looks textured, like a grass cloth texture wallpaper. I've used that all over my home. It's not even real grass cloth, it's a peel stick, but when you look at it, it's actually a vinyl, like waterproof, because I have them in bathrooms and areas that can get wet. So, but it looks, I'm looking at it right now in my movie room, it looks textured and beautiful. You would never know, and there is a little texture on it. Or go for, you know, something that has like a pattern or a floral, just something more timeless. I think the geometrics are a little bit harsh and a little bit dated, so I would avoid those. The ninth thing you should stop doing in your home is matching furniture sets. That's another thing that's like very 80s, 90s, early 2000s. It was very popular to get matching dresser, matching nightstands, matching headboard from like an Ashley's Furniture or whatever. It just ends up making your room look kind of boring and cheap, to be honest. It's so much cooler to buy the pieces separately. You're gonna keep hearing me say this. You can buy something brand new and then thrift the nightstands, and then, you know, maybe you find an antique dresser. You're gonna create so much more layering and visual interest, if you can figure out a way to basically just make different pieces work together. So, and also don't be afraid to do competing wood tones. Like if you have a wood headboard, you know, maybe you get black wood nightstands and then you get a painted dresser. Or if you have a cloth headboard, then maybe you go for rattan nightstands, and then you go for, you know, an antiqued wood dresser. You know, just mixing it up in that way, it's gonna create so much more interest and depth, and it's gonna feel cozier and warmer, which is what people generally wanna feel in their homes. This last one, number 10, I got in a lot of trouble for this one on TikTok because I made a trending video for 2024. And people did not like that I said accent walls are out. And I don't care. I hate them. I hate them with a passion. I think that they look a little bit lazy. And I think that they look a little bit, they just feel disjointed. If you're gonna do it, go all the way. Right now, I'm sitting in front of a board and batten wall. And I know it can be more expensive, but again, this is where I say good things take time, save your money. You know, I used pine, you could have done MDF, that's cheaper. That's one way to save money. There are a lot of ways to do it. I got pre-primed, you could have done pine that isn't pre-primed and just sanded it. It's more work, but it's less money. Sanded it and primed it yourself. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I just think when you do an entire room with a wall treatment or an entire room with wallpaper, the payoff is so much greater. And there are rare occasions where an accent wall works. I think hotels have a tendency to do them very well. You know, I think it takes a very specific set of skills to be able to do that well, or like on a fireplace wall, sometimes that can work, but it's rare. I'm more so talking about like if you're gonna do picture frame molding or wainscoting, board and batten in a space, do the whole space, be enveloped in it. If you're gonna do wallpaper, do all the walls. You know, it's so much richer, it's so much warmer. The effect you're going for is going to look so high end, and it's going to feel so good. So that would probably be, the last one is probably the biggest one to me. It's a timeless look. You know, you're gonna spend more money, but you're never gonna regret it. And the people who inherit your home are gonna love it. When you think about, you know, these shows where they're going into old houses and they're uncovering like moldings and things, they didn't just do one wall, they did the whole damn room. You know, the crown molding wasn't just on one wall, or you know, the wainscoting wasn't on one wall, it's the whole room. And that's why people get so excited about these old homes, because they are so full of character. Because people took the time and the effort to, and of course things were cheaper back then, but they took the time and the effort to craft their homes and make them handmade and make them interesting. And so I'm sorry, stop doing the accent wall. That's my opinion. Of course, as in all things, as I said before, you do you. You do what you want to do in your home. These are just my opinions. I'm just having some fun. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to talk about. I love talking about interior design and home decor. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, please be sure to go follow me over at storydesign_with Corbin Reed. And thank you so much, you guys. I'll see you in the next one.